Alright, hi there everyone, this is AWteen guy here, and today we're gonna do AWteen 6.1 building. Well, actually this building that I'll be doing is very generic, so it'll be applicable to most versions. Now if you are on a version below version 3.2, the third axis won't work for you. So for instance, if you are on some ancient server that I don't know about that's still using AWteen 2.0 or 2.2 or 3.0 or 3.1, these versions, they don't have a third axis. And to achieve that, basically back in the day we would use a rotate and a stop command. Now today we will do the most basic commands, so that will mean create texture, create picture, what kind of object can you use those with. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump straight to it. Alright, here on my specific terrain in AWteen, and this is quite far. This is in AWteen on the coordinates 37123690W. It's a giant lot, so it's quite amount of land that I can work with here. I can just copy. Now if you're wondering how I'm copying all these objects all at the same time, I'm holding the control and the shift. So if you hold the control and the shift together, you can copy all the neighboring objects, which is handy if you want to do a mass selection. So control and shift is very, very handy. Now you can, as you can see right there, it can actually bother you if you are wanting to do precise selections. Now if you want to do only single selections, just hold your shift key and use your right mouse button to individually select the objects that you want to copy. As you can tell, just hold your shift key and see, there we go. So if you hold your shift key, you can individually select objects and you can then copy them. Alright, so let's just do that right now. I'm probably going to encroach into somebody else's terrain, so let's just see if it says something. No, it doesn't actually. There you go. I'm actually far enough away from that in order to be able to just copy and paste over there. Let's just try another copy. There we go. Because I do actually want to. You gotta be kidding me. The draw distance. Just don't joke at me. Come on now. That's what you get when you have bad draw distance. In AWteen, you can only go up to 200 meters. I tried to go beyond that, but if I try and somehow it's not working. Now somehow this doesn't want to stay there. Come on. There you go. Stupid little server. Alright, so these are my objects, and I'm going to just go ahead and just copy some over. There we go. Because it's just going to, this little nick is just going to annoy me. I know it's going to annoy me, so I'm just going to do that just real quick. There we go. So, alright, the basics. So, in AWteen you have a few object types. This is considered a picture walk. So, picture walk just basically means this is a walk object. So, when I copy, when I go up, I can use a picture command on this thing. This means that I can use any image on the internet. So I can go to the internet, I can put a URL in there, and boom, it's done. If I use texture, and I need to use a native texture that's on the object path. Now in the object path, you have to understand that in AWteen, the object path is basically a website that hosts a whole bunch of files. So let's just go ahead and show you what an object path is. Actually, mega path is probably going to be the one for AWteens where we are right now. So there's a folder called avatars. Now these are the avatars that you can standardly use in AWteen. So there's going to be all these avatars you see right there. Alright, so that's basically your list of avatars. This is just a folder. So if you have WAMP, you could do your own little, or LAMP if you use Linux. You could use your own server for this, right? To host your object paths, no problem. You can download the models and textures, the default ones from AWteen. So there you go. This is your model path, and like I said, this is your textures. Now with textures I do mean this is something has to be native, because you're basically quoting the object path and you're saying, hey, look, I want a texture, and in this texture folder I want to use, say for instance, let's see, a water. If there's water texture in there. Now you can see it move right there, right? Well, because it's moving, right? But it's not really. See, what this is, it's not a GIF file or anything like that. ActiveVolt does support GIF files now, but this is actually a BMP file. Well, BMP. It was a JPEG file. But basically what they do is they place multiple textures underneath each other. And the way that this texture is mapped out, it will not allow it to map the entire texture in one go. So this means that there's a bunch of frames. When you look at it with, for instance, an editing software, you'll see there's a bunch of frames underneath each other. So the same texture is copied over and over and over again underneath each other. And because only a certain frame border is given, the texture then is placed like a film strip. So that's basically how this whole movement that you see in this texture works. But yeah, that's quite technical, I guess, but there you go. Let's try something simple. Let's just do the terrain. So the terrain in the land, let's just do 0. This is a standard terrain texture. Now when we look around, indeed, this is the standard terrain texture, you can tell. If you're going to go up by 1, you can see this is the second terrain texture. Now, this is probably applicable to mountains or whatever. So if there was some mountains here in the terrain and somebody was bothered to make it look nice, this is probably what they'll be using to make the terrain look nice. So there you go. So this is just your terrain textures. Yeah, not much to it, I guess. There you go. So that's your picture walk. Now let's just type in picture wall. Number 3 in this case. So we'll just use a standard smaller texture. This is number 3, and this is basically the size of a human being. Let's just go ahead and put ourselves in front of it. There you go. Alright, see? It's not big, it's not small. It's just your standard object right there. Okay, so let's just disable the toolbar because it's just going to get in the way. Don't need it anyways. Where is my toolbar? There it is. Alright, so great. So this is our object right there. It's I guess it's two times your avatar, but it's basically representative of the real height you're going to be working with in the real world. So number 3 is really something you'll be working with in the real world. Number 2, you can use that. It's just basically 3 and 2. And these are basically picture objects, so they can do textures and pictures. So let's just do a normal standard wall. This is a standard back in the day wall. So just go ahead. It wants me to put WRX. There's a registry active in this world, which means that every object that you're going to use has to be registered. Some objects in the object path probably are very high quality or even been bought by ActiveVolt. They don't want you to use those objects, so they use a registry to prevent you from using those. Just a quick heads up. If you want to make sure that that doesn't happen to you, there you go. You can make a registry, and your citizens can only build objects which are allowed in the registry. Okay, so now let's use a picture, right? Now this is something really funny. You'll see why this won't work. Let's just go to Google, right? Let's just go to Google. Let's just go to Google. All right. Now let's just do a grass texture. Let's just go to images. There we go. That looks nice. Very pretty. All right. So this one actually looks good as well. Let's just view image. Should give me the string right there. Okay, nice string. Okay, let's paste it in there. There we go. It says, hey, sorry, it's not working. The reason why it's not working is not a picture object, so it's not going to allow you to draw it. So if you do a texture string on here, again, this picture doesn't exist in the texture string either, so it's just going to say, hey, look, I can't find it. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. So there you go. So textures, pictures on the internet. Only certain objects that have a pictured mapping will allow you to use that specific command. For more information, just look at the URL below, or just type in F1 and go to the building interface. Now let's just go to building right there. Building. There you go. See? It'll load the website and it'll tell you exactly how building works. And we're going to do this in a video because, let's be honest, reading is boring. So yeah, there you go. Alright. Yeah, so this is a picture, this is basically PP, that means in this case this means a standard wall. Now D for door, W for window. Let's just do a door in this case. It still says, hey look, I can't find that. Let's do grass. You'll probably find a grass texture, right? Is there a grass one? How about a grass 01? There you go. Okay, great. So, there you go. Okay, so there is your door, here's your window. All handy then. Okay, so yeah, let's do our mass building like I explained earlier. So let's just do a wall on this thing. Let's do a create texture. Let's just say wall in this case. It will probably have a wall texture, I imagine. Oh, no, stupid mouse. Alright. Yes, it has a wall texture. There you go. So, hold Control, shift to the right with your arrow keys. Again, do the same. Alright, now if you insert again on the keyboard, you'll see that the object is being duplicated, of course, because you've been doing that hopefully the whole time. When you move it back, you always have to move it back to its original orientation. So when you page up or when you well, actually, when you insert, you'll see it shifts. In this case, it shifts away from me because that's my orientation. Now, normally it shifts to the left or to the right, depending on your orientation. So you have to be careful when you're building and you're using your shortcuts. Your objects are always going to shift a single digit away from you or towards your orientation. So let's just do that again. When you select your objects by holding Shift and using your right mouse button, when you press the insert button right there, it shifts away from you. I always go back. I always do that because you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 as in one specific wall. Now if you do, for instance, 16, 24, etc., that's actually the amount of walls you can do. Now if you've been in ActiveVolt building long enough, you know exactly when it's going to stop. Now in this case, we are probably going to be completely off, but let's just do that and let's just see exactly how far we're going to get. Boom, it lines up straight away. So as you can tell, I've used the page up, page down to rotate the object. Yeah, that's your arrow keys to move the object around. And home, tilt the object in this case to either side. The third axis is going to be star or the slash on your numpad, as previously explained. So if you're going to go here, there you go, you can tilt it backwards. Whoop, okay, there you go. So in this case, I want to put a nice, how do you say? I want to put a floor texture on there, but as you can see, you saw already, it's not going to allow me to do that because I'm too far on the actual texture, so it's going to glitch out on me. So what I want to do is I want to move these objects up, but I don't want to move them up all the way. If I move them up so high, it's just going to look ugly. So let's just move them up slightly. So how to move them up slightly? Hold Shift and press the plus button, or if you're on a laptop, use the FN key and whichever key you designated to move up with. It's going to give me sticky keys because I'm holding the Shift for too long. Okay, now, boom. Did you see that? It's a very slight upward. Down. Up. Down. Up. Down. Up. Down. Alright, so if you use normal pluses and the normal minuses and you don't hold the Shift, it's going to be quite vast. Now, if you use the Shift, be very careful when you use it because you are taking like an inch, right? It's no longer just a solid amount. So if you use the Control and the Shift, it's going to be even less. So let's just hold Control and Shift. See, slightly, very slightly, and it's very dangerous. You can cause problems on your own build if you use this too much. It's gonna make your objects glitch out. They're not gonna properly align. So make sure that when you use it properly. So let's just go ahead and look at if we can make it stand out enough from the ground. All right, let's just go up by 1. Yes, see, there you go. So it's no longer glitching out. So now we can change this to, for instance, a floor. So let's just change this to a floor texture right there. Let me just hold 1 second. I'm being disturbed. Just 1 second. My apologies for that. Alright, what were we doing? Oh, yes, very good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to just do a nice little floor texture. Now, I think I left my caps lock on there. Or just sticky keys. Ah, the annoyance. Thank you. Alright, create texture. And yes, it's fine. It's the texture that I was looking for. I remember this texture very well because it's one of the best textures you can use for basically a wooden floor in AWteen. Megapath only. Or, well, I say Megapath because that's one of the paths that uses that texture. Now, there are multiple paths out there. If you, for instance, use the path from Ananas, that's Arc31. If you, of course, ask permission or you know him personally, then you probably can use his path. But there you go. There are more paths out there that use that texture. Let's just go ahead and just copy this over, and we'll finish the whole flooring, because that's basically what we're doing now. 1, 2, I still have 2 to go. Alright, well, let's go ahead and do that then. Hold Shift, again, right click on everything you want to copy. And you got everything. Object count right there, 16. Very handy if you do want to know exactly what the dimensions of your build are. Then there you go, 16 objects. It's handy to remember that. Alright, so we've got 16 across, and let's just go ahead and see if this is also 8 across there. Yes, it's also very, so it's symmetrical. There you go. So yeah. Now, if you don't want to insert and copy, just select both angles. Press insert, again it's going to move one away from you. I go back, right? Page up, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, 1. Okay, so it's still going to screw me over there, but oh well. Oh, swearing. I have to beep that out during editing, if I remember. Okay, so let's just deselect that. There we go. Yeah. Alright. So what shall we do? Why not? We'll use an arch object to make it nice. Huh? Let's just do that. Ugh, I have to put RWX behind it. Yes, of course. The annoyance of the registry. There you go. So, Arch01. Let's just do that. There we go. And let's just go on down and let's just take a look at the symmetrical. Oh, yeah, I expected as much. So, it's not very happy with me when it comes to the actual dimensions. Then we go up one more. There we go. There we go. So now it is. So now it's perfectly symmetrical. Alright. Now, if you want to Windows, there's your Windows. Alright. Let's just, so there's your first building. Yay! Okay, so if you want to do found a mistake. See, our first building mistake has been found. There you go. So as you can tell, this is not completely even, is it? No. Which is telling me that there has been made a single mistake. So let me just go ahead and copy all these over. Let me just see why I'm not seeing it. I know why I'm not seeing it. And that is because this entire row is not very symmetrical, is it? No. See? Our first building problem right there. Probably caused by my overzealous shifting and controlling before. Let's just try to make it stable. There you go. Yes. Got to love control and shift. Alright. There you go. Okay, so great, we got that. Alright. So if there was no land around it, I'll just use this. I'll just hold the control and the shift. But since there's stuff around here, I can't really use that way. Now, I'm not going to copy over the actual flooring, because let's be honest, there's no point to that. Let's just copy everything over that we want to do, because a lot of people do ask, hey, how can I erect like a gigantic building in 2 seconds? Well, there you go. You just select everything you need, you copy it over, and repeat. So that is the basic idea, right? So if you want to build fast, of course you can use the control and the shift together. If there is no other neighboring object and you don't mind deleting things, sure, no problem. But to be honest with you, I would never do that if there's stuff around you, because the problems you're going to create yourself is just a headache to remove. It's never really worth it. So let's just copy it over again. Alright, paste it. There you go. So, alright, so let's just go ahead and 2, 3, 4. There we go. Done. Okay, so there's a gigantic building. 2 seconds. Literally, you can build something like this in a minute. It's yeah, it's super easy, as you can tell. Alright. No. Oh yes. So after shifting and using the del button, I guess, on my keyboard, this is what we end up with. It looks alright, doesn't it? It looks alright. Again, like I said, if you hold Control and Shift, as you can tell, it's selecting a whole bunch of stuff underneath it. Even if you break the object midway, it's still going to select that specific spot. AWteen is not smart enough to do segmental selections because the grid system doesn't allow it. It's just that simple. Alright, so don't think that you can do it. It's impossible. Yeah. So there's your object. That's your first object. Let's just do a simple rundown of all the commands that you have in AWteen. So you have the texture object, texture command. You have the picture command. Oh, we already covered those just now. Let's just do rotate again. Rotate is basically rotation of an object. Now you have the speed of 1, speed of 2, speed of 3, or the speed of 5,000, or 500 in this case. Let's just do 5,000. Let's just see what happens. My gosh, that's fast. Okay. Anyway, yeah, let's just not rotate that fast. You can give it a time command, so you give it a... I want to do this for, say, for instance, 2 seconds. See? There you go. Times 2. And, yeah. After 2 seconds, it's not very long. Now, you could say... it will reset after 2 seconds. This doesn't work very well with rotate. It will work pretty much well with move. Now move is, you can make the object move towards a certain orientation or vector. So let's just move it to up. Let's just say, okay, I want to move this thing up by 4. The time I wanted to do that in is 0.1 second. There we go. And we'll wait there for about 500 seconds. Or wait, let's just do 5,000. There you go. So now it will wait there for a very long time. Now if you don't want it to wait at all, you can just do this. You can say, I want to loop this. For instance, it will loop the movement. Loop, 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 loop. Okay, very good. So there's your move command. Let's do another one. Let's do, oh yeah, matte effects. Alright, well matte effects you can do... I think this was the string that actually the command and the strings you need to use, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's actually create texture and then matte effects. Let me just do that. Let me just do create texture, matte effects, type is 2, texture. I think is also an is, and then let's just do mark 2. Let's just see what happens. It does not understand me. Alright, well no worries. I do have a tray here somewhere where I use that actual command now. Oh wait, there you go. So, in this case, oh, text is. There you go. See? I had the syntax all wrong. There you go. Even I can have it wrong sometimes. So let's just do a create texture. Let's just give it a mark 2. And let's say also matte effects. And we'll give it text panorama type 1. There you go. So we're gonna put a matte FX on this thing. It looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Yeah, it looks shiny. Very good. Very shiny. Very nice. Alright, so that's your matte effects. If you don't want to put panorama on there, you can of course put sky on there or anything else. You can put a grass texture on there. Let's just do grass, for instance. terrain 0, I guess is the best possible option for it. Let's just do terrain. There you go. So now there's a green shimmer on there because of the overlay of my terrain texture. So the type is very different. Of course, you have type 1, type 2. Type 2 is more of an indentation. And type 3 is, yeah, just a shine to it. Just a complete shine, complete bling bling. I'll use gold with it or something. Yeah, there you go. So, if I use type 1, you should see the yellow come through. Let's just see. There you go. So now the yellow of the gold is actually coming through. Yeah. There you go. So that's matte effects for you. If you want to know more, like I said, you have all these building options right there, so you're never going to be worried. Alright, let's just see. What shall we do after this? There's the, well, we've done some basic objects. We can do something completely different, and that's, I can explain you something called zones. Now, a zone is basically just a cube, a cylinder, or sphere, and that's basically the shape a zone can have. And in this zone, you can make it either, well, you can make it visible or not visible. That's just completely up to you, I guess. You can make it have water. You could block out the lights of the world. You can block audio. You can block chat. You could enable VoIP if there's VoIP. I believe there's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, see, VoIP enabled. So there's let's just create a zone. Let's just do it. Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's create a size. Let's just say, okay, I want to do it 4 by 4. All right, by 4. All right, and funny thing is, you can actually do negative gravity in this thing. So if you want to create like these nice little pads that you can use to launch yourself into the air with, there you go. You can use yeah, you can use a zone for that. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and see. Alright, so this is now your zone. It's not visible. Annoying, so let's just make it visible for now. Let's just add some water to that thing, and let's see what we're going to get. So, I don't think I've actually put water in there. Or maybe I just mistaken myself that I did. Let's just go ahead and select it again. Maybe I need to put a texture for the water there, maybe. Or maybe a level for water. No? Oh well. Maybe I can't remember. Even I forget sometimes, I guess. There you go. Location. Well, location is correct. Let's change the color to something a lot less bright. Let's do a bigger zone because this is getting annoying to me. Let's just use 16 by, yeah, exactly. 16 by 16 by 16. Gravity, I don't want to put that much gravity in there. I think it's alright. There we go. That looks nice. Okay, so. Now, you can block out the world light. So let's just do that. Let's just block out the world light. Okay, let's just block out lights at all of it. Yeah, let's just see what happens. Boom. All of a sudden, all the lighting that is outside, it's no longer in here. So you can use this, for instance, also to make nice and scary and spooky places, I guess. So if you're into that sort of thing, there you go. You can actually use zones to the full effect. The beautiful thing about zones is you can also put a skybox around it. Let me just go ahead and try that as well. I think it says it somewhere. I don't remember where it was. Thought you could texture the outside. Oh. Guess I'm completely wrong. They must have used something else to do that. Well, there is of course the option of just using a skybox and just blowing out the size of it. Yeah, you could do that, I guess. Let's just go ahead and take another look at the object type. So we've covered zone pretty much. It's not very interesting. I mean, it is interesting if you're building something specific, but for the general person, it's just building a house. It's not really that interesting. Let's just go from zone to a particle emitter. Well, particle emitter is annoying. Camera cloth. A cloth. Ah, yes, indeed. These things are basically the physics that I was talking about earlier in another episode. This is basically a cloth, and a cloth can be many things, as you can tell. It's there you go. It's falling on itself. Oh, poor cloth. So the cloth is pretty awesome, isn't it? I mean, that was pretty funny. It was. Oh, you can even make it break, I believe. Let's just see what the you could break this stuff as well, can't you? Or wasn't it some tear? Enable stretch limit. Yeah, sure. Let's just do stretch limit of 4. I don't know what that's gonna do, but we're definitely gonna find out. Don't worry. And yes, there's of course the tear factor and everything else. So let's just, as an avatar, let's just go ahead and bump against this thing and see what happens. Ah, it's torn. Ah, there it goes. Oh, I broke it there. Oh, poor cloth thing. Now only a tiny piece is left, and I just pushed that against that as well. Oh well. See, so that's cloth for you basically. It's very nice. It's a tiny demo I'm doing, but yeah, of course the possibilities with cloths are endless. The beautiful thing about the physics in 5 point something and higher, 5.0 and higher, is that you can make something an actual piece of material. Now we're not gonna go in there today because I just want to keep this very basic, right? So again, when you select an object, right click. That's how you select it. Then press insert. Then move it to an empty lot. In this case, there's no other terrain around here, so I'm able to do that. Now, if you are in somebody else's lot, but there is some empty space for you to build, in this case here, for instance, just copy something over, drag it to where you want it to be, deselect it, and you'll see it will not disappear. Now you can just build freely. Now there are a few worlds in active worlds themselves. This is AWteen. If you were wondering which world this is AWteen. There are a few worlds in active worlds that allow you to build. AW is one of them. The thing about some of these worlds, though, is that a lot of people have been just copying and inserting like I'm doing right now, but on a massive scale. Because you have to understand, in active worlds 3.1 and below it, there was no hard limit for object selections. So people could select as many objects as they'd like. And if you have, for instance, a gigantic terrain of a bazillion objects, then they could just copy all of those, insert, move it to the next spot, and paste, and continue. So they could cover vast amounts of land. Now, with the introduction of 3.1 to make it easier in the world server, they actually, 3.2, my apologies, 3.2 is this, they made a hard limit of 128 objects. Now, I believe the ini tweak is no longer effective, but there is still a possibility it might work for you, especially if you're running an older version of active worlds and you just press skip all the time. The tweak for that, and I'll show you, the tweak for it is pretty straightforward. Ini tweak. And this is visibility, so I know it's going to catch it in Google. Yes. There you go. Alright, so visible, special, and your max count. Now this is pretty important to remember that these tweaks, they will still work for you, I think in this version, but some people have reported they're no longer working. But just try it, just see if it works. If it works, it works. You'll need to go to the ActiveVolts directory. So if you install ActiveVolts in your C drive, it'll probably be C ActiveVolts 6.2 or 6.1 or whatever it was. And then you'll see this bit. Don't touch that, that's fine. But what you'll need to do is you'll need to type this stuff, because this stuff is not there. So you'll need to go to your ActiveVolts directory. So let me just go ahead and just show you my ActiveVolts directory. So let's just go to I think it was the F drive. I'm not quite sure on that one. Let's just go ahead and say ActiveVolts. No, it's not there. Alright, let's just use E drive in this case, and there we go. So, let's just open this. Alright, so, in this case we'll, I think I've entered something in the past, but nah, there's no special here. Nah. Alright, so, we just go ahead and find the actual, let me just delete all this stuff so you can see how it works. So, first thing first, visible, alright, very important. Range underscore limit underscore float, alright, so let's just put this on 200 is fine. Then range underscore limit underscore fixed equals, and this value is then 500, okay? Let me just go ahead and add the special feature, add it. So max underscore pick underscore count equals 1024. So when you've done this, basically it's going to allow you to select 1024 objects instead of 128. Like I said, the old limit that's been set ever since 3.2 is 128 objects. It's just to make sure the world server can handle the traffic. So let me just go ahead and save that, and let's just restart ActiveVault and see what the let's see what's happened to ActiveVault now. So let's just go ahead and double click ActiveVault again. There you go. And let's just go ahead and go to the teleports. Yeah, my lot. Very good. Let's just go ahead and see what the visibility range is now. No, I don't want to go to Max Molly's World. Let's just go ahead and click on that. And there you go. So now all of a sudden we can go all the way up to 500 meters, which is very handy. Let's be honest, you don't want to select any less than 500 sometimes, especially if it's an empty, uncrowded area like this. It's very handy just to select 500, because you do want to do that. You definitely do want to be able to see as much as you can, so you can work with it, you know. So here we are in ActiveVault. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the structure of our previous made building. So there you go. Yeah, there's your building. So if there's any questions regarding these basic commands, just look at the ActiveVault tutorials on the website. But like I said, they will be in text, so you will need to read those. There are some people on YouTube, I believe, like Murdoch, that do hopefully some tech stuff, but I'm not quite sure on that. Let's use a different object. Let's just say, shall be, what's that name again? 19 something, 1960 something. No. Let me think. Oh yeah. No, they have actually removed that object. That was a car, basically. The Turbo 911. It's a pretty good car. Looks nice. Okay, let's just do a tree object again. Let's just use the 301. Let's just see if it still works. Yes, it still works. Oh, very good. I'll put a texture on that. It just looks silly. Alright, so there you go. There's your tree. Yeah, if there's any questions, just let me know. If you want to know more about building, or you want to know specific commands, just search in the help guide. F1 on your key. There's a guy in YouTube who's also been reviewing ActiveVault. Now, the thing was, he didn't know how to build, and there was nobody there to explain it. But if you press F1, just like in any other game, and you click on building, it's a simple, just looking exactly, before you start, how to start. You don't need to own a world necessarily. If you can find an empty lot at ActiveVault's teen, for instance, and there'll be a teen where we currently are, there's plenty of space there left. I believe in the gate of the AWteen, so let me just go ahead to the actual start point of AWteen. I think there's a map there that shows you the empty spots, and that's pretty handy, of course, to have. So let's just go ahead and click on this AWteen map. So if you don't have any, if you want to see, there we go. So, alright, so that's probably my lot right there. This is probably my region. All this stuff right there is probably me. Let's just go ahead and show you. See, for instance, here, it's completely empty. One thing there, and tiny thing there and tiny thing there. And this is all the way at the, I think is this the south side? It must be. There's little flags usually telling me exactly where this is. North side. So this is basically at the north side, right? There you go. So at the north side, you are going to be able to find yourself a whole host of empty spaces. So, you know, you're going to be able to go there without any difficulty and build to your heart's content. You know, look at this amount of space, man. It's just incredible. Just incredible, you know. It really is. Yeah. That's just that's AWteen. So there you go. It's yeah. There's a whole bunch of free space here. I wonder if this is all my stuff actually. I wonder. Let's just take a look at my teleport coordinates and let's just go ahead and take a look. This is all the way at north, but it's mostly west. So let's just go ahead to the west side. West side. And let's see. Interesting. Well, I can't remember it was there, so let's just move it back up right there, but maybe mine is actually not even in here. That would be pretty funny, but I think that is the case. I can't see my lot right here at the west side. So there you go. This is kind of outdated, must be. But anyways, yeah, as you can tell, there's a whole bunch of empty space. So if you are an AW, just go to World AWteen and you should be able to find yourself a nice empty lot, a nice bit of space for you to work with, right? Yeah, there shouldn't be no problem in trying to achieve your build in AWteen as it stands right now. There's enough space to go around. You really just have to know where to go, right? So this map does guide you to most of the empty spaces, especially this entire region. It's completely empty, man. Look at how much space there is in here. I can tell you, each dot is going to be a few of those PW picture walls that we've been building. You know, each dot on this thing. It's just that kind of gives you the scope of the size of how many buildings there are. Just look at this. Look at this. My gosh. I guess that's what you get when you go online for like, I don't know, 25 years. Alright, so if there's any questions, if there's any specific commands that you want me to perform, if there's any specific builds that you want me to do, let me know. Yeah, and for now, I wish you all a very good night.